Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Nerd Central. I'm your charismatic host, Noah Ferguson, and we have a good lineup of news to share with you all. So let's not waste any time and go right into it. To start off, we begin with some sad news about a Disney live-action remake that was going to be made. The fan-favorite movie Tangled was going to make its way to being live-action, but Disney sadly canceled it. This is because of the controversial run the Snow White movie has had. However, the delay isn't a bad idea. According to Screen Rant, the delay is hopefully Disney acknowledging the uproar, and they can spend some time reassessing what is going on with their live-action remakes. Here's hoping they can lead to better live-action remakes for the company and not movies that generate hate over revenue. Carrying on into movies still, we learned who the director of the new Death Stranding movie is. The director is Michael Sarnowski, and if that sounds familiar, it's because he previously directed A Quiet Place Day One. So far, that is all we know about the game-to-movie adaptation, but it's good to see that we're still getting news on the project. Moving more to the animated side, a show from many childhoods is being revived. And that's right, the hit show Phineas and Ferb is getting a revival for June 5th, with the first 2 episodes being released. 10 years after its end, the show makes its way back to Disney+. And the news has been very positive for fans. I'm excited to see how the show will return, and hopefully we'll get some more iconic scenes, as well as funny things from our favorite platypus spy. And finally, for today's news, we have not one, but 2 visuals for the upcoming projects for the hit anime movie Dan to Dan, with the movie releasing June 6th and Season 2 beginning on July 3rd. Fans were treated with 2 visuals for both of the productions. The movie itself contains the first 3 episodes of Season 2 and will be called Dan to Dan Evil Eye. After its huge successes on Netflix, the show's movie and second season are sure to bring even more fans to the series. And that is a wrap on the news. I don't know about you guys, but man, I am really excited for that Phineas and Ferb revival. It's nice to see childhood classics get a comeback and see new content they have. Speaking of new content, let's check out some new packs and see what they have this week. Hey everyone, I'm your host Noah Ferguson of Reels and Beats, your source for all things movie, music, news, entertainment. Today I got topics for both movies and music, so let's not waste any more time and hop right in. Starting off with movies, we see our first look at Wes Anderson's next star-studded film written by Roman Coppola, titled The Phoenician Scheme. It features Tom Hanks, Scarlett Johansson, Bryan Cranston, Benedict Cumberbatch, and even Michael Cera joining the mix. This espionage spy-action comedy drama portrays a father-daughter duo, with the father Zsa Zsa Corda, played by Benicio del Toro, being one of the richest international businessmen in Europe who dabbles in aviation. His only daughter among 9 boys, Sister Liesl, played by Mia Threppleton, is a nun who gets tossed into her father's most important project of his lifetime. As always, from Asteroid City, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Fantastic Mr. Fox, and many other great films directed by Anderson, that's all we know for now. Besides his obvious distinct symmetry, color palettes, sets and props, overall quirky humor, fantastic visual artistry, and unique storytelling, I'm sure this one will be one for the books as well. The Phoenician Scheme is set for a limited release in select theaters on May 30th, 2025. Now moving to music news, we know the weather's getting nicer. Hopefully we get those songs of the summer soon, because right around the corner is music festival season. Last week on Friday, April 11th marked the start of Coachella. Lady Gaga is headlining the Friday night of the festival. Saturday features Green Day, and finally Post Malone will close out both weekends on Sunday. Now obviously, me being from the Midwest, I'm not going to be at Coachella, but what I will be doing is getting food, eating in the comfort of my own home, and watching it live on YouTube, because truly that is the most exclusive VIP ticket you can get. But to be honest, I am pretty fortunate enough that I will be going to a music festival this summer back at home called Maha. And no, not that Maha. They're a nonprofit organization focused on bringing people together in the heartland of America in Omaha, Nebraska. This year's lineup include indie rock, folk, and all-country artist Waxahachie, the synth-pop dreamy duo Magdalena Bay, and the headlining alternative rock band The Pixies. I was quite shocked to see their name along with so many others. On a real note guys, whether it's concerts or music festivals, being in one space and the same as many other people for the same reason you are just creates some of the best moments in life. But guys, that wraps this episode to a close of Reels and Beats, your source for all things movie and music news entertainment. Down in the comments, let me know if any concerts you've attended, and if you haven't, tell me what your dream concert is. I've been your host Noah Ferguson, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hello and welcome back to Nick's PSA Reviews. I'm Nicholas Givens. This week is also the best of the ad counts and spots that once aired on KNWT back in ye olden times. The first one is called Wedding and is produced in association with the National Trust for Historic Preservation.
When your children ask where you got married, will you have to tell them, over there by the unleaded? When we lose a historic place, we lose a part of who we are. Help protect historic places in your community. Visit nationaltrust.org.
This is a very well done PSA, and I agree with its message because historic sites have their own stories to tell. People should care about this issue because when you take away a historic area, you're removing a piece of history. The scare factor for this one is a 0. I like the juxtaposition of a wedding over a gas station. I find it creative because there is a filter over the wedding, whereas the backdrop of the gas station is left alone, which helps argue the message that historic sites should be preserved until they can no longer be preserved. The next one is from the same ad campaign and is called School.
No one looks back fondly on the years they spent in a parking garage. When we lose a historic place, we lose a part of who we are. Help protect historic places in your community. Visit nationaltrust.org.
This one is very well done. Schools have their own stories to tell, and if they are on the National Register of Historic Places, then I think that particular school should stay and potentially become a museum once they build a new one. I also like the use of a filter on this one, as it gives it a Super 8 home movie-esque look to it. I also think it's best practice to shoot good quality video and then make it grainy in post as opposed to shooting grainy video and then trying to fix it in post, as the latter option is nearly impossible. The scare factor for this one is also a 0. I like the use of juxtaposition in this one. The reason for that is that you ordinarily would not see school children taking a picture outside of a parking garage every day. That just helps spread the message that historic sites are something to be preserved and not something to be torn down. And I like the fact that the narrator says, quote, "No one looks back fondly on the years they spent in a parking garage." I find it funny because unless children are in a car with their parents, you're typically not going to see them there. I'm Nicholas Givens, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Kirsten, what are you doing here?
What do you think I'm doing here? Making TikToks? And it's not about what I do. It's about what we do here. So we start with storyboarding the content we want to create for our clients. It could be anyone from small businesses, nonprofits, and organizations both on campus and in the Maryville community. We write, we film, we edit, we create, and then we wait. So if you're someone who thinks you need us, we are KNWT Creative Services.
Stay on top of current events and the biggest stories of the week with Northwest News.
Welcome back to Northwest News. I'm Skylar Stamps.
And I'm Wiley Ray.
Get all the latest news coverage and updates about Northwest, the Maryville community, and ways you can stay involved on and off campus. Northwest News every Sunday, live at 11 on KNWT TV.
What's up and welcome to episode 9 of Slashback, where I break down slasher icons' backstories, what makes them significant to the genre, and what makes them unique. I'm your host Wiley Goff, and on today's episode, I'll be breaking down Pinhead. Let's dive into his backstory. Pinhead, who is the iconic antagonist of the Hellraiser franchise, has a surprisingly human and tragic backstory. Before becoming the leader of the Cenobites, he was Elliot Spencer, a British Army captain who served during World War I. The horrors of war deeply affected Spencer, leaving him with severe trauma and survivor's guilt. Disillusioned with humanity and God, he began to seek darker pleasures. In 1921, while traveling in India, Spencer encountered the laminate configuration, a puzzle box that serves as a gateway to hell. Driven by curiosity, he solved the box, unleashing its supernatural power. Spencer was then transformed into Pinhead, a Cenobite devoted to exploring the boundaries of pain and pleasure. This transformation erased his memories of his human life, making him believe he had always been a demonic entity. As Pinhead, he became a figure of fear and authority in Hell's labyrinth realm, serving as Leviathan, who was the god of chaos. Despite the monstrous deeds, traces of Spencer's humanity occasionally surfaced. In Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, Pinhead briefly regains his human memories when confronted with a photograph of his former self. This moment of vulnerability ultimately leads to his defeat. That'll wrap up his backstory. Now what makes Pinhead significant is his iconic appearance. Pinhead's distinctive look, with nails or pins protruding from his head, has made him one of the most visually unique horror villains. This image is instantly recognizable and has cemented his place in pop culture. Lastly, what makes Pinhead so significant is his calm and cerebral demeanor. Unlike many other slasher villains who rely on brute force, Pinhead is calm, calculating, and philosophical. His measured demeanor makes him more chilling, as he often speaks in a way that suggests he views human suffering as a pleasure. That's what makes him significant. Now, what makes him unique is that he is the leader of the Cenobites. Pinhead's leadership role among the Cenobites is unique. He isn't just one of many antagonists, he is their commanding figure, often acting with authority and a sense of order. Another thing that makes him so unique is his invulnerability. Pinhead is virtually unstoppable in physical combat, where he is resistant to conventional harm and even advanced weaponry. This invincibility sets the tone to his supernatural nature. Lastly, what makes him so unique is his strict code of conduct. Unlike indiscriminate killers, Pinhead adheres to rules. He targets only those who summon him through the laminate configuration out of desire or curiosity, sparing those manipulated into opening it. And with that, this episode will come to an end. Tune in next week where I'll be talking about the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. I've been your host, Wiley Goff, and this has been Slashback.
Alright, let's look back at who we covered. Alright. Stiltman, Dogwalder. That's weird. There's just a picture of a golden egg.
Play the intro! Play the intro!
Hello, and welcome back to Hero to Zero. I'm Taden Hensley, and if you're watching this episode on the day that it came out, which should be April 18th, 2025, then that means that Easter is this weekend. So, to celebrate Easter, let's talk about the hero, Egg, who can shoot eggs out of his body. Now, Egg has nothing to do with Easter, but it kind of just made sense to talk about him. But anyways, let's talk about Egg's origin, because in the beginning, he originally called himself Goldballs. And that's the one time I'm saying that in this video, so I'll just call him by his original name, Fabio Medina. Fabio was a mutant who had the ability to generate and fire golden spheres from a variety of different sizes anywhere from his body, making a poink sound every time he shot them out. He discovered his powers after he was a victim of an attempted robbery, and later with his abilities, Cyclops decided to recruit him to be a part of the X-Men. Or should I say, the Eggs-Man. What has this show become? Anyways, with all this information, I think Fabio's power isn't the greatest power, obviously, but it isn't the worst. When you have an infinite amount of golden spheres you can create, he can be pretty decent. But here's where it gets strange for Fabio. Later on, Fabio moved to the island of Krakoa to discover the true nature of his power. He found out that all the golden spheres that he was shooting out were eggs all along, which had the ability to resurrect mutants by creating clones of them and restoring their powers and their memories. So Fabio would change its real name to Egg. But how do I feel about Egg as a whole? Well, his powers are just weird. And I know that I talked about Dogwalder last week, whose powers were just disturbing, but shooting eggs with clones of other people inside and they hatch out of them with all their memories before they died, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, can you do that with any person or just mutants? And also, this has nothing to do with his powers, but I really hate this picture. Like, why are you looking at me like that? You are not the main character. If you saw this picture without knowing what his power was, you'd probably think, wow, he must really have cool powers. But no, he just shoots eggs out of his body. Anyways, that's all I have to say about Egg and his strange powers. So with that, I'm Taden Hensley, and this has been Hero to Zero.
Unlike other organizations on and around campus, here, the students do it all.
KNWT is a student-run and student-produced television station.
To support this content, you can go to our YouTube channel at KNWT Channel 8.
And watch the latest shows or even enjoy blasts from the past.
Welcome to Tales of the Dice Roll, a story-driven role-playing show. This season, we're in Downpour, Nebraska at Robert Olmsted High. Here, you'll have the opportunity to explore your interests.
Wait, what's that?
Build connections with your peers. Off. Strike out on your own.
Do you think this is fun?
And become an overall well-rounded you.
Someone please!
So join us Saturdays at noon to learn more about our tactics.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the 3 Count. I'm Wiley, and today we're talking about one of the most emotional, personal, and at times heartbreaking rivalries in WWE history. The battle between the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. A story of brotherhood, betrayal, and redemption. Before we dive in, I've got to share a personal moment. Just a couple weeks ago, my brother and I went to a TNA Impact taping, and after the show, we got to meet the Hardy Boys at a post-show meet and greet. Seeing them perform live was incredible, but meeting them in person, that was a dream come true for me. They were humble, passionate, and truly connected with their fans. It made their story all the more powerful. For years, Matt and Jeff Hardy were one of the most beloved tag teams in WWE history. From their jaw-dropping ladder matches against Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys, to their legendary TLC matches. They revolutionized tag team wrestling, but like all great teams, tensions eventually boiled over. Things took a dark turn in 2009. Jeff Hardy had finally reached the top of the WWE, winning the WWE Championship. But Matt, he was stuck in the shadows. At the Royal Rumble, the rivalry got even more personal. Matt claimed he had always been the responsible brother, while Jeff was reckless. This led to a brutal showdown at WrestleMania 25. A brother versus brother Extreme Rules match, where Matt proved his point by defeating Jeff. But their story didn't end there. Over the years, their paths crossed again, especially outside of the WWE. In TNA Impact Wrestling, they reignited their rivalry, leading to the birth of the broken Matt Hardy character, which took the wrestling world by storm. Eventually, their bond healed and they reunited to reclaim tag team glory. Few rivalries in WWE history hit as close to home as this one. It wasn't just about championships, it was about family, jealousy, and proving who is truly the best Hardy. So what do you guys think? Was this one of WWE's most underrated feuds? Until next time, don't forget to kick out of the 3 Count. I'll see you guys next week.
And thus, another episode of Nerd Central comes to an end. If you enjoyed today's episode, let us know down below in the comments, as well as leaving a like on the video to show your support. Hit that subscribe and notification bell as well so you never miss another one of our episodes. I've been your host, Noah Ferguson, and this has been Nerd Central. Stay nerdy.